Assalamu alaikum students. Hope you all are fine today. Once again, I have come forward to take a class. Today we are going to learn chapter number 12, Light and Vision. Students, in your previous classes you have learned many things regarding light, and right now we are going to learn little bit more of the things regarding light and vision. You know that light is something which always travels in straight lines. It also gets reflected and it also produces different images on different objects. So let us start with the topic reflection. You all know what is reflection. You have already learned. The bouncing off of light at a surface is called reflection. For example, you take a ball in your hand and hit the ball on the wall. When you hit the ball on the wall, what will happen? The ball will return it back in the direction you hit it. Okay, so that is what the ball is getting bounced backwards. So same like this, we find light also gets bounced off. Okay, so the bouncing off of light is called reflection. Okay, all surfaces they reflect light, but all the surfaces do not reflect light in the same way. Those surfaces that are smooth, okay, and has got shiny surfaces, okay, smooth and shiny, they reflect light better as compared to the surfaces that are dull, rough and all. Okay, so at the time when the rays get reflected, okay, when the rays of light gets reflected, okay, from a mirror or a surface that is smooth and shiny, okay, we get regular reflections. That means the reflected rays, okay, takes place in a particular direction. So such a mode of reflection is known as regular reflection. Let me show you by drawing one diagram. Consider this is a surface, okay, which is smooth and shiny, and the rays that are falling on the surface in such a direction. So these are the rays which are falling on the surface. When it will fall on the surface and touch the surface, what will happen? We have learned that the rays gets reflected backwards. So the rays will get reflected in opposite direction, okay, in opposite direction, showing parallel rays. Okay, so such a mode of reflection is known as regular reflection. But at times when the surface is rough, or dull, the rays that falls on the surface, okay, it gets reflected in an irregular pattern, Suppose you can see here, they get reflected in an irregular pattern somewhat like this. So such a reflection of light is known as diffuse reflection. Especially we get to see this diffuse reflection only in cases when the surface is dull or rough. Reflection from a plane mirror is also an example of regular reflection. We know that every morning before we get dressed up, okay, at the time when we are supposed to go out of our home to visit a place or anywhere, what we do is that we used to get dressed up very well and we look ourselves at least once in the mirror whether we are dressed up well or not. So at the time when we observe ourselves on the mirror, we are able to see our face, yes, very clearly. So what is the result? It is only because of reflection. Okay, this reflection that takes place from a plane mirror, okay, is considered as regular reflection. A mirror is made by coating a thin layer of aluminum or silver at the back of a glass sheet, and the layer, okay, of a metal is extremely smooth and forms the reflecting surface of the mirror. The smooth surface, it also ensures the light falling on it undergoes regular reflection. Okay, this is why we are able to see a clear bright image of the object in a mirror. Apart from the mirrors, images that are formed by shiny surfaces like those of metal utensils. Okay. Since the surface of utensil is not as smooth as that of a mirror, the rays reflected from its surface gets diffuse. It is said that apart from the mirrors, okay, if we use any metal utensils to see the image of the object, the image doesn't appear that much clear as it appears on a mirror. Why it is so? Because in case of metal utensils, the rays gets reflected, okay, in an irregular pattern. That means diffuse reflection takes place. This is why the images that are formed in metal utensils other than the mirror, okay, does not appear that much clear. Now we are going to learn some of the terms that are related to reflection. Students, you might have learnt regarding this in your previous classes. Till then, let me show it once again. X, Y, mark this as point O. So you consider this as the rays. Okay, here you take as mark it as point A, here you take it mark it as point B, and here B. Now you can see a ray, a diagram on the ray on the topics related to reflection. You can see that in this diagram, okay, the ray that falls on the surface X and Y, what happens is that it comes and touches at point O. Okay, this ray is called as the incident ray, and after touching the surface, the ray that gets reflected, okay, which is OB, okay, this OB is considered as the reflected ray, and right at the center we get the normal. So these are some of the terms that are related to reflection: the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal, touching at a point, okay, on a surface. So what happens is that in case when the incident ray, okay, falls on a surface, it gets reflected backwards in other direction, making equal angles with the normal. So we find that the angle of incidence, okay, is always equal to angle of reflection. So we can write this like this: angle of incidence equals to angle of reflection. This angle of incidence, which is equals to angle of reflection, okay, is also known as Snell's law, which you will learn now. So there are two laws of reflection. The first law is that the angle of incidence is always equals to angle of reflection, and the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal all lie in a same point, that is at the origin O. Okay, these are the two laws of reflection. Now my dear students, we are going to learn the images that are formed by a plane mirror. We have learnt that a plane mirror always forms a virtual images. So you take a plane mirror and try to do an activity. If you place a plane mirror, okay, on the table, and in front of it if you keep a pencil, will you be able to see the image of the pencil on the mirror? No, not at all. You will not be able to see. But we know that in case of a plane mirror, the image is formed always behind the mirror. Okay, the image is formed always behind the mirror. That means a virtual image is formed. Okay, but at the middle, if we place a screen, what will happen? The image will not be formed. So when we hold a pencil in front of the plane mirror, we see its image, the rays of light from the pencil forming on the mirror and gets reflected. Okay, the rays of light that falls on the pencil, it gets reflected, and when the rays enter our eyes, we see an image of the pencil. So the rays, it seems to come from a position behind the mirror, and we are able to see the image of the pencil there. But if we keep a screen in between behind the mirror, the image will not be formed. And sometimes what happens is that when you use shaving mirrors or rear view mirrors on vehicles, we know such mirrors are always curved inwards or curved mirrors we call. You place an object close to a shaving mirror, the image that will appear will be larger than the object. And if you place the object in front of the rear view mirror, the image that will be formed will be smaller than the object. But if you place the object in front of the plane mirror, the image formed will be of the same size as the object. For example, when you look yourself in the mirror, okay, what do you see? You are able to see that your face is bigger in size or smaller in size. As the size as you have of your face, okay, of the same size you see on the mirror. Okay, that means the image formed will be of the same size as the object. And talking about the lateral inversion, what happens is that in case of lateral inversion, we find that the left and the right sides gets reversed. For example, when you look at the plane mirror, okay, your face, you are coming this side. So this side, it doesn't mean that in the mirror it will be considered as the left side. Okay, so the left and the right side gets reversed. So the sideways change is called lateral inversion in case of a mirror. If you have take the example of the letter P and bring one mirror nearby the letter P and try to observe the letter P on the mirror, you will find that the size has got changed. So such a formation of image, okay, is with left and right, when left and the right side gets reversed, okay, is known as lateral inversion. That is why letters of the word ambulance are written laterally inverted in front of ambulance, and this makes the word appear the correct way round in rear view mirrors. Okay, you might have seen many ambulances. So at the time of writing the name on the ambulances, okay, what happens is that they used to write the name laterally inverted in front of the mirrors. That is why at the time when we happen to see the word ambulance written on the ambulance, okay, we are able to spell out correctly. So the properties of the image formed by a plane mirror are always virtual, erect, laterally inverted, of the same size as the object and at the same distance from the mirror as the object is placed. Okay, so you need to remember all the 5 properties of the image formed by a plane mirror. Firstly, it is always virtual. The image that is formed will always be erect. It will never be inverted. It will always be erect. And the image is laterally inverted. Laterally inverted means the sides gets changed. The left and the right sides of the image gets changed. And the object would be of the same size as the object, and it would be always at the same distance from the mirror as the object is placed. Now talking about multiple reflections. We know that when the rays of light gets reflected, what happens? An image is formed, and we are able to see the image of the object. So sometimes we get to see multiple images. So how these multiple images are formed? Due to multiple reflections only. A plane mirror forms an image of an object placed before it. This is a result of a single reflection of light. If we happen to see only a single image, it means that single reflection is taking place. But at the time when we happen to see many images are forming, we mean to say that multiple reflections are taking place. So at the time of multiple reflection, many images are formed at the same time due to multiple reflections. You can see the figure 12.10, which is given in page number 128. Okay, you place 2 mirrors, okay, in such a position. You place 2 mirrors in such a position, and at the center of it, it's just exactly at 90 degree, making an angle of 90 degree. You place a pencil right at the center. What you will see that you will be able to see many images of the pencil forming on the mirror. So such a way of reflection is known as multiple reflection. Okay, and the number of images of an object placed between 2 mirrors can be found from the following formula, that is number of images equals to 360 degree by angles between them. Angle between them minus 1. So by using this formula, you can easily find out the number of images that are formed by a mirror. Okay, so another instrument we have here that is known as kaleidoscope. This kaleidoscope is a device that uses reflections to produce patterns, sometimes in discos or pubs, which we most usually get to see in televisions. Okay, it consists of mirrors inclined to each other, and these mirrors they form multiple images of objects in front of them. This creates beautiful patterns which changes when the kaleidoscope is rotated or shaken. At the time when the kaleidoscope, the device is rotated or shaken, what happens? It produces beautiful patterns of light. Okay, talking about the term dispersion of light. So you might have learned regarding this. Dispersion of light means the splitting of light into its component colors on refraction. Okay, at the time when the light gets splitted into its component colors on undergoing the phenomenon refraction, okay, it is known as dispersion of light. So when does refraction occur? You have learned about it. Refraction means the bending of light when it travels from one medium to another. Normally we know that light can travel through various mediums like air, glass, water and oil. So at the time when light travels through air, we don't get refraction, we always get reflection. We always get reflection. But at the time when light happens to travel to some other mediums like oil, water, glass and oil, okay, we get refraction. So refraction means the bending of light when it travels from one medium to other medium. Okay, so you might have observed this. For example, you have taken a glass of water, and in that glass of water you have dipped a 5 rupee coin or a spoon. When you observe the spoon or the 5 rupee coin, you may see that the image of the coin or the spoon that is formed on the glass of water is little bit upper than the bottom surface of the water. Okay, so such an image that is formed on the glass of water, okay, is due to refraction, that is the bending of light takes place. Okay, and talking about the white light, it is the light, okay, which is mixed in certain proportion, which is colorless. In short, we can say sunlight. This sunlight is also considered as white light because it's a mixture of light with 7 different colors, but it always appears colorless. So light that is colorless can be called as white light, for example sunlight. Talking about the term spectrum, okay, what is spectrum? It's nothing but it's a band of 7 different colors, okay, like you all know violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. Okay, so the band of 7 different colors which gradually changes from one to another, okay, is known as spectrum of white light. In short, we use the 7 different colors by a word known as VIII. So my dear students, hope you all have got the points that I have discussed. If you have any doubts, please contact me every night between 8 to 10. I shall clarify your doubts. So with this, I end up this class. Thank you. Have a nice day.